What is going on, Dragon Ball fans? Welcome back to another Dragon Ball fan manga breakdown review, where today we're going to be reviewing a fan manga entitled Dragon Ball Multiverse, which is a fan-made manga set within an alternative timeline involving various incarnations of Dragon Ball characters set within different universes and timelines to compete in a massive multiverse tournament for the grand prize to see which universe will be the universe to gain the mightiest of the Dragon Balls. As for many years now, I've been introducing and showcasing various different fan mangas created by the community for the community, so if you would like to check out all the latest and best Dragon Ball fan mangas, then make sure to check the description box and bio down below for all the latest in Dragon Ball fan mangas, including Dragon Ball AF, Dragon Ball X, Beyond Dragon Ball Super, and many others. Then be sure to check out all the Dragon Ball fan mangas listed down below, and if you are new to this channel and are a fan of anime and Dragon Ball, then don't forget to smash that subscribe button and turn on all notifications to never miss a single upload. As we kick off the Dragon Ball Multiverse manga chapter number 67 special within Universe 4, as the narration goes on to state Universe 4 year 778. Buu pretty much excelled at everything at the time. He was also in many places at the same time. One of his parts was available 24/7 in a big public place. And as of course inside of this big palace, we get to notice how a lot of people are of course waiting online. One individual, of course, he goes on to say to himself, "So that's the line. It's so long, I can't see the end of it." As of course this individual continues to stand on the line, he goes on to say to himself, "It's taking hours, but nobody's trying to cheat. I imagine in front of Buu, it's meaningless." And this individual looks very similar to someone that we've seen in a Dragon Ball movie before. As over on the line itself, we notice how one individual is knocking people over as this behemoth goes on to cry out, "Gorkor the Great doesn't wait in a line." But then instantly as he's knocking people out of the line, something happens to him. He begins to disintegrate. As people all around him are witnessing this individual burn down, some of the people waiting online go on to state, "I have to pee, will you keep my place?" As another person replies, "No, but you can use this, pee in this bottle." Basically, as many people are urinating in bottles and people are waiting on this line for a very specific reason. As the narration states, and hours later, finally we get closer to Super Buu as an individual cries out, "Greetings, Great Buu, here is my wish. I want to be immortal. Denied." As the individual goes on, "I want the power to save the people I love." As Buu goes on, "So cliche, and your heart isn't even close to being pure. Denied." As the individual continues, "I want 1,000 wishes. Denied." As another individual goes on to ask, "I want to be able to read people's true hearts." As Buu goes on to state, "Granted." Now notice how each time we get closer on the line, people want to be immortal, people want to save the people they love without pure intentions, people want 1,000 wishes, and Buu keeps denying everything other than having the ability to read people's true hearts. As one of the individuals walks by, he goes on to state, "It's incredible. I can see your hearts. I can see right through you, sir. I can see right through you. You. Whoa. You, out of all people, you're terrible." As we notice Super Buu sitting on what appears to be a throne, he goes on to state, "You again." As a female individual walks by, she goes on to tell Super Buu, "I want Gohan and his friends back." As Buu goes on to state, "Stop coming, Videl." As Videl goes on to tell him, "You were nice once, remember my faith." As he goes on to tell her, "I'm teleporting you back to Earth," and instantly snaps his fingers, sending Videl back to Earth. Now Videl wants Gohan and everyone to come back, and in this universe, Buu had not only defeated everyone but also absorbed them. As finally another individual steps up after Videl is sent back to Earth, and he goes on to tell Buu, "I want the answer to life, the universe, and everything." As Super Buu goes on to tell him, "Cookies." As the little mouse individual goes on to ask, "Isn't it 40 with Buu having to state cookies? Go, now." As the narration goes on, and 1 hour after, finally this individual steps up. The very individual carrying a box in which we know Hirudegarn lies inside, as he goes on to say to himself, "It's my turn. Almighty Buu, please, can you open this sealed music box?" As Buu goes on to ask, "What's inside?" As the individual responds, "A great hero who is imprisoned there." As Super Buu goes on to respond, he goes on to tell him that's a nice white lie. Consequences will be fun, but here you go. As he snaps the music box open, out of nowhere we notice how Tapion finally appears. And as Tapion appears, he goes on to ask, why did you free me? As the sinister individual goes on to respond, heh, aren't you happy to be out of your poison? As Tapion looks over, he spots Buu. As he goes on ahead to tell him, you shouldn't have done this. As Buu goes on to ask why. As Tapion responds, I want to go back in the box, as the other individuals begin to yell at Tapion, telling him, hey, get back in line like everyone else. Tapion then begins to lose all self-control as Hirudegarn is beginning to finally be released from his body. And as this happens, Super Buu isn't concerned at all. In fact, he's actually laughing. He goes on to state, very beautiful, bravo! And as Hirudegarn is finally making his presence known, as quickly as it happened, he finally breaks free as he shatters through the palace. As individuals begin to run away, people are crying out, I can't die, I have to grant my wish, I have to have my wish be granted, because that's why the public is there. They want Super Buu to grant them a wish. And being that Super Buu is being looked at as some sort of a god and or deity, that's why people revere him, that's why people like him. However, as Hirudegarn breaks free, we notice how everybody's running away as Super Buu goes on to state, the people waiting in my line are under my protection. You know that, right? As Tapion goes on to state, you monster! You killed Minoshina, I'll keep this whole monster prisoner! As the sinister individual tells Tapion, oh no you won't, Hirudegarn, attack! And as Hirudegarn attacks, Tapion quickly moves out of the way, as Hirudegarn is wreaking havoc all throughout the land. As Tapion goes on to say to himself, if I can get a few seconds, it won't be able to attack when I start playing. As the crooked individual who set Hirudegarn free cries out, chase him! As Hirudegarn creates carnage in stomping down and tearing up the entire area, Tapion swoops on in as Super Buu goes on to say to himself, a creature of magic just like me, created by a wrinkly small sorcerer. As Hirudegarn begins to shout, shaking the entirety of the land, Super Buu goes on to continue, I hear your thoughts, your laments, you hate your life as a servant. You used to be an idol. You didn't get in line, but you deserve your wish of peace. As out of nowhere, Super Buu snaps his fingers, and within an instant, Hirudegarn stops, because he is now turned to stone. And Buu did this because he understood that Hirudegarn wanted to be an idol. As the individual that released Hirudegarn goes on to cry out, no! My Hirudegarn, what have they done to you? As behind him he notices a sword. As Tapion is about to move on in, he goes on to tell him, your time of crime ends here. As the individual cries out, no, don't you dare, I'm still a powerful sorcerer, as Tapion swoops in, cutting the individual in half, in a very barbaric fashion, in which of course afterwards we notice how the palace itself is beginning to heal up, as of course with Buu's magic, as Tapion goes on to cry out, this palace, it's putting itself back together. As many hours later, we see Tapion waiting on the line, as Buu goes on to ask Tapion, hello, what is your wish? As Tapion goes on to tell Buu, can you bring my brother back? As Super Buu goes on to tell him, sure. As Tapion replies, really? Just like that? As Buu replies, just like that. As he snaps his fingers, we notice how Tapion and his brother leave the palace, as the narration goes on to state, a new life began for Tapion and Minoshina. In a new era and a new civilization, they had each other and that was enough. Buu granted about 1 million wishes before he got bored. And of course, we notice the Hirudegarn statue in the background as the manga chapter comes to a close. Now, this was one of the shortest Dragon Ball Multiverse specials that we have within the series currently, and prior to manga chapter number 68, currently right now, Dragon Ball Multiverse manga chapter number 68 is the last completed version, as manga chapter number 68 is ongoing. So again, I will be presenting more of Dragon Ball Multiverse as soon as the manga chapters are finished from the creators and the artists, but again, I will say, I did not like how Hirudegarn didn't have any action involved. I really wanted to see Super Buu actually fight him, even though Super Buu at this point is significantly more powerful than Hirudegarn. It was interesting to see how Super Buu was able to read his mind in knowing how Hirudegarn hated his life, how he hated being a slave, and then set him free as an example by turning him into a public idol. So this was very interesting, but I will say this, just to give you guys a massive update. A lot of you guys were wondering about the Raikon manga that I've been working on within the last year and a half. I will finally be putting that out this spring/summer with a very interesting spin on what happens to my character, as of course I have a brand new artist and people working with me right now. I will be putting that out as soon as I reach 600,000 subscribers, which isn't too far off out there, so make sure you guys go ahead and spread the word. Dragon Ball Multiverse will be continuing. I really enjoyed this chapter, but the only thing I did not enjoy was not being able to see Hirudegarn actually fight Super Buu, which was something that I really wanted to see. But again, I want to get your thoughts in the comment section below as to what you guys expect to see in Dragon Ball Multiverse. Hopefully, we will be seeing Gogeta versus Vegeta and the tournament wrapping up, because there's so much context being added in Dragon Ball Multiverse right now. I want to get your thoughts as to what you guys want to see and what it is that you guys expect there to be done in the manga when it comes to the overall tournament. Thank you all so much for watching, guys. Once more, I do want to say thank you all so much for the overwhelming love and support. If you guys are not following me on Twitter, follow me at Twitter at UnrealEntGaming. Thank you all so much for watching. If you guys are not subscribed, then make sure you guys go ahead and slap that subscribe button, punch that like button down below, guys. Tune back in for the next video. Again, I'm really beginning to wonder as to where they're going to go when it comes down to Dragon Ball Multiverse and the overall direction in taking the characters and taking the villains, what they're going to do with Babidi and said characters. But again, for that, we're gonna have to wait and see. Thank you all so much once more, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Have a great day, everybody. Peace!
This is the Galactic Emperor of the Universe, and of course I'm here to tell you to subscribe to UnrealEntGaming and all his social media platforms. Also, don't forget to turn on notifications so you can be the first to know every time that he uploads a new video.
Oh, did someone say UnrealEntGaming? Oh my god!
The fuck's up, on? Put on some clothes!
Well, why don't you put on any clothes?
What? I don't need clothes, but Jesus Christ, that's huge!